Hey guys, how you doing? Ryder Champouillon coming to you from Point of Life Acupuncture with today's What to Do Wednesday. Sorry the feed's a little off angle and weird today. For some reason my laptop the last 2 times I tried to do live feeds has not been connecting the webcam to Facebook. So today we're coming to you from my cell phone on top of my laptop. Things have been going well here, I gotta say. It's been apparently 2 weeks of rain, and I haven't really noticed a lot of people complaining that the rain has been incessant and non-stop, and I think it's been pretty sunny days, so either I'm completely delusional, or I'm just focusing on the better parts of life and not really getting bummed out by the inclement weather, as they put it. So let's see what's going on my front as we wait for the room to fill up. I know we got 3 people in. I want to thank you guys, first of all, for coming in, checking us out every week. We're seeing more and more people giving feedback, more and more questions, getting a lot of phone calls to the office, and that's what it's all about, guys. I'm here to help you out, share some of the information that I've collected over the ages, over the days, weeks, months, and years of being in this practice and profession, and try to share some of the secrets that I've learned to have that brought success to me, to you guys. So hopefully you can benefit from it and find some positivity and share it along with your friends as well. Some things in my life that have gone on. Those of you in the Port Jeff or Long Island local area looking for a good time, my fiance and I, my beautiful Jen Vegan, Jenny Juniper out there, went out this weekend with some friends, Cave, Tom Cuff, and his lady friend Meg, to Theater 3 in Port Jefferson, where they're putting on an absolutely fantastic play, a great comedy. We honestly laughed our asses off for hours and hours and hours. It's called If There's a Will. I highly recommend you guys check it out. It was really just a good rip-roaring time, a couple hours of incessant, contagious laughter throughout the entire thing. So, without giving you too many clues about what it's about, just really funny. Check it out. It's well worth a couple bucks to spend for the tickets to that 160-year-old theater down in Port Jeff. Awesome, guys. Check it out. CrossFit DHP got some equipment this week. We're still working with the town of Brookhaven Board of Health to get some of our permits and things in place, but we picked up a whole host of equipment. There was a local CrossFit that unfortunately had to close for good reasons. The family operating it wanted to spend more time with their children and their family as they're growing up, 3 young boys that they had, and they felt that owning and operating the facility was taking away from their ability to be with their family. So they closed their doors, and thankfully and graciously we are passing the torch. We received the passing of the torch, and we obtained all of their equipment, and we'll be using all that stuff once we open up. So pretty cool. Very excited about that. Big thank you to Taylor, Jen, and my Jen for helping us move. All my guys out there, I called for help. Thanks for dropping the ball on me, guys. Leave me with the ladies to show you up, but they did an awesome job. We moved everything in a couple hours, and I got enough gear to open up. We just need the doors to be allowed to be open. So totally stoked about that. Bringing kind of a new perspective to the area on CrossFit and mixing in that medical side of things from my background, sports rehab and personal conditioning, and CrossFit DHP stands for Developing Human Potential. That's what we're going to be about, just bringing a new life and a new level of acceptance and expectations to people, standardization, and pushing them past what they thought their limitations were, both mentally and physically. So totally looking forward to that. Let's see, I got some emails, some questions. A lot of questions have been coming up lately about knee pain. I don't know if it's because people are preparing for the Murph, or it's springtime, they're out in the gardens, dampness and rain causing some inflammation in the areas. But a lot of people getting some problems with knee pain, especially in squatting for my athletes. And, there are a whole host. So by no means is this the #1 be-all, end-all of why your knees may hurt when you're squatting. But I figured I'd bring some of my models in and demonstrate proper articulation of the knee. Go over some of the parts of the knee that are actually being affected when you squat, and why the #1 most common complaint for knee pain, the location of it, and why it's happening, and what you can do to fix it. So here is your knee. This is hopefully not your knee because the skin's missing, but this is your knee. This is your kneecap right here. These are your quads coming up. This is your shin bone coming down here. And of course, your calves in the back. Nice little calves. Look at that. So beautiful. Looks like Twizzlers, right? And tibialis anterior in the front here. So this is actually a right knee here. And we could take off all the parts of the muscles and stuff and show you where they attach. But instead, we're going to go just directly over to this model here. And this is with all the muscles removed. Now we just have the soft tissue, the tendons, the ligaments, and the bones here. And some cartilage as well. That's a really cool model because it totally articulates. It shows you where things move, the tendons and so forth on the inside. So I'm going to go over a little basic anatomy lesson. Now, your patella slides through this little groove in the front of your knee. I can take this little strap off here, and you can see deep into the knee, where we have two ligaments on the inside there. If you look, they crisscross, right? And that's your ACL and your PCL. The ACL is the front one right here, and the PCL is the back one back here. And of course here, you also have your collateral ligament. This is your lateral collateral, and this is your medial collateral. And this fun little piece down here, this floppy little thing, that is the meniscus. So any of those that have the meniscus injuries, meniscus tears, now you know what part of that tore. If it was your medial meniscus, it's going to be this side. If it's your lateral meniscus, it's going to be this side. And of course you have the anterior and posterior portions of that. So articulation of the knee when squatting. It's always recommended in a proper squat, if you're looking at the key points of performance, that the shins stay in a vertical angle while squatting. But most people have a tendency of getting very forward on their angle. And their shin, if you imagine the shin being this way and this is the foot, the shin gets on a very, very acute angle this way. Right? It should be vertical like this as much as possible. And we squat through our range of motion as the femur comes down, the butt breaks parallel on that plane, and then we come back up. But we do have a tendency very often of letting that knee excursion forward. Now what that does, this is super important, is as that knee comes forward, if you look at this joint, the joint is made to slide, right? It's supposed to slide on this little plateau. The meniscus kind of makes a little shelf for it to sit on, a little cup, and it slides back and forth and glides very nice here. However, when that shin starts to go forward, if you imagine the weight pushing straight down here, the weight's going down, it's going to go this way and straight down this joint, right? So the weight kind of travels at angles. It's not sliding forward at all. But once that shin, the tibia starts to go forward here, where's that weight going to start pushing down through? That vector of force, if you follow that vector of force right down the bone, if I hold it here like this, that vector of force is going this way. Creates a shearing force. So rather than properly sliding and gliding, now that force is going this way. It's not being directed through the joint, but across the joint. Now what happens there? As that starts to slide forward here, you're going to have not a stretching of the ACL. If you do, that's going to be really, really bad. But even more so, the PCL in the back, that back ligament, slides forward. You can actually see it start to pull on the meniscus. So people have deep-rooted knee pain. That's the PCL starting to slide forward, possibly even the posterior lateral horn of the meniscus being pulled up as well. But really, what most people end up complaining about is those little two pockets underneath the knee. Directly underneath your kneecap, right down here, is where that pain starts to happen. And what happens here now is when that knee starts to bend and that knee comes forward over your toes and we lose that vertical position, the femur starts to slide forward, and what happens is the patellar ligaments, right? This is your patella, your kneecap. You have your supra above patella and the infra below patella. The infra starts to stretch. See how the stretch starts to happen? It's no longer staying nice and tight in the joint. It stretches that way. And that's where you start to feel that pain there. You also feel the femur start an excursion forward and put pressure on the anterior aspects of that meniscus. So, how do you fix that? Because obviously it's an anatomical problem, and we know structure equals function. By having an altered structure for your squat, you're going to have altered function. And altered function always shows us the symbol of pain. So if there's pain going on, you know that your structures are not proper. What do we do to rebalance that? Obviously, getting that shin in a vertical position is super, super, super important. A lot of people always try to say, keep your weight on your heels when you're squatting. It's very, very important to make sure that the toes are also grabbing into the ground. Without going into the neurokinetics, the toes grabbing into the ground sends a neurological signal through all the muscles from your head all the way down your core to your body to engage the muscles at slightly different angles and positions. And it's not so much that we want your heel to come off the ground. We want the heel to still maintain flat on the ground. We want the toes to grab in while the heel is maintaining. It's going to engage a little bit different musculature control from the nerves being fired off in the right way, and it's going to root you a little bit different. Next thing is also going to be tightening up the butt, squeezing the gut, keep the shoulders up and back. So proper posture before you even start your squat, super, super important. So engage not just muscularly and skeletally, but the neurological control of that. Making sure that we're squeezing the butt will help to turn those knees outwards. And we don't really want a pushing out of the knees, but really the screwing of that system in. Torque gives all our joints more strength. Joints tend to break when they're on a single plane of resistance, and when they start to have torque, they end up getting more muscular recruitment. All our muscles end up twisting over joints for reasons. That's because torsion adds more power to those systems. So, key thing in the squat here is really to make sure that toes are grabbing the floor floor, the butt's tightening and the knees are rotating and twisting outwards. And that's going to have us have a nice wide alignment for our knees, for a butt to drop between. I usually say shoulder alignment. As long as your hips can fit between your knees, you're going to be good to drop down that plane, keeping that chest up nice and tall, but make sure those shins stay at a vertical angle for all you athletes. If you're having weakness in there, ways you can deal with that is by doing box squats or chair squats, setting onto a box, and don't sit down, relax, come to a vertical position, come back forward, rock your body through it. Just touch and go. Have your high knee touch that little spot on that box and come back up, and ideally to the relative place where you can go without pain. If going down too far into your squat gives you pain, you want to stop that point where you barely start to feel a little bit of discomfort and make sure that's the height so you engage in the muscles from that point. Muscle weakness is going to have an alteration in form. An alteration of form can have an alteration of function, and that alteration in function is a dysfunction, which means pain. So that's my 2 cents for you for knee pain today. Hope you guys take that into account. That's the big one for today. Other thing I've been getting a lot of questions on lately too is my ice theory, and it's not my ice theory. I can't take credit for it. This is just proven by science nowadays that heat is better for you than ice. There's been so many studies done where people have been put onto exercise equipment bicycles where both legs are doing the same amount of output. They put one into an ice bucket or a cryo chamber and leave the other one in warmth or neutral temperature, air temperature. They do blood works and muscle sample testing both right after the events, 24 hours after, right after ice, 24 hours after ice, 48 hours after ice, taking the muscle samples out from the tissue, blood samples out, and ice has shown absolutely no reduction in inflammatory markers, no reduction in no reduction in lactic acid flow in the areas, and no benefit to healing the areas where heat shows greatly improved results all the way through. In some cases, ice has actually showed more inflammation to build up. Because the problem with inflammation isn't that inflammation's happening. Inflammation is your body's natural way of healing itself. Your body designs itself to have inflammation flood the area because that's how we heal. Without that inflammation, we have no healing going on, which is why taking any kind of anti-inflammatory is a bad idea, unless it's a selective anti-inflammatory. And there are selective anti-inflammatories like selective kinase inhibitors, selective pro-reactive enzymes, mediators. These are all different ways that we can turn on certain inflammatory reactions and keep other ones from happening. So they're very, very important. Your general NSAIDs, they stop all inflammation happening. The bad, which is good, but the good, which is bad. We want that good inflammation to happen. And the problem is never the fact that there's inflammation in a joint. The problem is always that the inflammation has no place to go. It's not the problem is flushing the toilet that's making the sewer back up into your house, your cesspool back up into your house. The problem is that the cesspool is blocked and the fluids aren't moving through that system. So, in the case of inflammation, we don't want to reduce the inflammation because we're reducing the body's natural ability to heal itself. What we really want to do and need to do is increase the body's ability to flow that lymphatic fluid, that inflammatory fluids out through the system. Basically, open up more exits on the freeway when there's a traffic jam. So, that's my 2 sets for you guys today. I did a little quick, maybe 10-15 minutes. I think these two tie in really, really well together. Now it's my time to ask you guys for a little bit of support. We have been nominated for Best of Long Island, Bethpage Bank's Best of Long Island, so please put in Point of Life Acupuncture. You guys can vote as much as you want. Every day we'd prefer to have your votes help support us, and we try to do a lot of great outreach to the community with our veteran services, with our special needs communities, with our addicted communities. We've been doing a lot of outreach, and I'd really like some support back from you guys to really give us, you guys tell us that we are the best on Long Island, help show us, help us get that award. Let's get some nomination votes on the Bethpage Best of Long Island's. We're under health and wellness, acupuncture, Point of Life Acupuncture. Please guys put my contact information down in there. You can use the email address info@acupuncture of Long Island for our email contact on that. That would be super awesome. And guys, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. There should be a button somewhere around here that says subscribe. Click that. This way you can get updates on our feeds. Hit that little bell too so you know immediately when we put new stuff up there. Check our Instagram. Check our YouTube. Check our Facebook on our Facebook page. There's constant information flowing out from mental mindfulness techniques, diet health, exercise, allergy prevention, weight loss, mindfulness. I got a whole ton of information coming to you guys, and I'm bringing on more and more specialists in the field. We have a special guest coming up next month. Can't wait to have this gentleman on. Tom Cuff from Off the Cuff is going to be coming on and doing a special session with us, probably for one of our May What to Do Wednesdays. And with that, it's going to be probably Off the Cuff and On Point. We're going to do a little duo together, his show and my show, Off the Cuff and Point of Life Acupuncture, bringing it to your reels. So that's my 2 cents, guys. I hope you enjoy it. Be well and live life fully.